We all know that culture eats strategy for breakfast every day. And so if you don't feed the teachers, they'll eat the children. If you don't feed the principals, they'll eat the teachers. And culture is healthy when everyone is restored.
Hello, Dr. Burton.
Hello, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. I'm so excited to sit here with you at our second annual Ed Life Equity to Liberation Conference. How are you feeling about this week?
I am feeling great and I'm excited to be here. And thank you for the opportunity to interview with you this morning.
Absolutely. So, this year's overall theme of the conference is nurturing and restoring and actually giving the teachers an opportunity to learn about themselves and to learn how to nurture themselves. And you're kind of an expert in this. So tell me how you came to implement this and why it's so important.
Actually, Sylvia, that's a great question. We work in an educational system that espouses systemic dysfunctionality, which means the system is broken by design. So we have broken students being taught by broken teachers, being led by broken principals, and in some cases, being led by broken superintendents. Not broken in the sense that they're bad, but broken in the sense that they take a lot of time to pour into or to educate, but they don't take time to take care of themselves. So intentional self-care doesn't happen at all. Now, most systems have an EAP department, but by the time we get there without stress problems, it's too late. So I work with principals and teachers on the front end to help them engage in intentional self-care by giving them strategies and techniques to cope with and manage stress. Not just any kind of stress, but chronic stress. There are four kinds of stress: eustress, distress, acute stress, which is fight or flight, chronic stress. Chronic stress is a kind of stress that causes all sorts of maladies and diseases and things that really make us sick. Now, the problem is we come to work every day and make it look good, but we're actually dying a slow death to ourselves.
So what you're telling me is that people are coming to work stressed. So if a teacher shows up stressed, then in turn, the children are going to feel that stress, and then it makes learning difficult in the classroom.
That's good, and actually it's a little bit deeper than that. Energy, both positive and negative, is contagious. So when a person experiences chronic stress, the prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain, physiologically shuts down. So new learning cannot take place. So when teachers work with students who experience chronic stress, then they can teach until the cows come home. It won't happen. Consequently, when a teacher comes to school and a principal comes to school, if they have chronic stress, they can't process or think, so they're strictly working on their basal ganglia, which is where your emotions or subconscious is. So it's real important that teachers and principals learn how to restore themselves before they can restore children. And that's really the key to restorative practices. We have to restore ourselves first before we can restore the children that we work with.
Right. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. I heard a lot about this restoration practice, RP, another underlining theme of this whole conference, and it's something new. Tell me a little bit about restorative practices, and again, do you see it changing the way we teach our children today?
Yes, actually, when I do the work, it's called revitalization and restoration. It's two parts. My mission is to help educators restore and revitalize their emotional health and well-being. Now, I do see it changing the way we work with students because one of my vision is to create a community of educators who become emotionally literate and emotionally intelligent so that they can restore students by restoring themselves first. Now, the truth is there are very few companies who do what I do because the focus is really on student achievement. In the year 2000, when George Bush instituted No Child Left Behind, The children got left behind. The teachers got left behind. The principals got left behind. We all got left behind. So it was almost an oxymoron. So in order to be in the moment, I teach teachers and principals how to restore themselves so that they can be whole when they work with students who come to them under-resourced academically and socially. They aren't bad, but they don't have the resources that they need to be successful in school. We can't give them the resources if we haven't revitalized or restored ourselves.
Yes. So really important is that I think this practice is vital because when we learn how to restore our educators, not just the educators, but the superintendents, the principals, the administrators, when they are all restored and whole, then the leadership, starting from the top, coming down, is supported. Everyone is supported, and then thus they can support the kids.
Sylvia, that's the key. You really hit the nail on the head. It really does take. It's a holistic concept.
Takes a village.
It takes a village, and because it takes a village, when I do training, I normally do the superintendent and the board because it starts with them because they all have a sense of brokenness in that they are not really restored, not restored as a principal, but as or their position, but restored as a person. So when I'm training them to be restored as people first. The positions come later on.
Yes.
So when it works at its best, the entire system, the superintendent, the board, the principals, the district supervisors, and the teachers, they all are restored. That way they can help students, and that's really the best way to increase student achievement. We all know that culture eats strategy for breakfast every day. And so if you don't feed the teachers, they'll eat the children. If you don't feed the principals, they'll eat the teachers. And culture is healthy when everyone is restored.
Right.
And that increases student achievement.
Yes. So, when everyone is restored from the top to the bottom, then you have a community of individuals all working towards the same goal. Not just working towards the same goal, they have a vision
Yes.
of a goal
Yes.
that everybody can reach.
Yes.
And everyone can have a hand in doing well.
Because they feel a part of a system that is positive. When I institute my processes, some of the outcomes are increased teacher retention, increased teacher attendance at school, increased teacher quality, and the last thing is increased student achievement. But that's a byproduct of the other three, and the other three are done because they've been restored. We're restoring principals so they can restore teachers, so they can help students.
Right. I'm going to ask you about your friend, your new sister, Miss Angela Prince, and the practices that she's implementing that you are now on board with when it comes to Ed Life Consulting. Give us a little information about how it has really impacted you as an individual, the work that this company is doing.
There are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders have a position in power, but those who lead inspire us to be better than what we ever intended to be. That person is Angela Prince. And I met Angela while working on a project in the Cayman Islands with some schools. She was a project lead, and Angela changed the entire scope of the project in that she inspired everyone on the team to be their best. The work she's doing with restorative practices is necessary for schools not just to survive and not just to thrive, but engage in survival. That means that they're surviving and thriving at the same time. That's when schools work at their best, when schools are restored. I see my work being the peanut butter to her jelly, because before you restore schools, you have to restore people.
Yes.
And when you restore people, then restoring the schools is almost a non gratis. It's very, very easy to do.
Right.
So I see her system and my system as two sides of the same coin that's necessary to help the children be the best they can be and increase life chances for children.
I see this as an opportunity for everyone to win, and it brings me back home to the theme of everything that goes on here is that education is truly the best way to transform or have transformation for the long haul. And, you know, she has a book, Education Transformation and Ed Life. And I feel like this is something that is catching fire with many people.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I read Angela's book, and I've authored 2 books myself, but her book transformed me. And my leadership style is transformational. When I grow principals and teachers, the leadership style that I imparted them is transformational. That's Angela. Angela is transforming schools through restorative practices because she herself is transformation. Her passion comes through in everything she does. And passion-driven leaders are the kind of leaders that changes nations, that changes economies, that changes the world. She is a world changer, and she's changing the world of education. One school system, one child, one teacher, one principal at a time. She's simply phenomenal. Awesome. So I'm excited to be in this work with her to get this job done.
I think we all are. So my last question, Doctor, is yesterday it seemed more like a game, but it was an interactive training that we did when you implemented different colors which represented personalities of different people. And I think everyone loved that exercise because it showed them something about who they truly are. Give us a little insight into why that is really important to know who we are as an individual when we're showing up to educate the children.
Sylvia, that's a great question to end with. Most of us know our name, we know our phone number, we know our address, and we know maybe our birthday, but we really don't know who we are as a core. We don't know why we do the things we do. We just go through the day doing things. The psychometric inventory, when I use True Colors to do that, helps people to learn who they are at their core, why they do what they do, how to make deposits in themselves, why they have certain tendencies, why they act a certain way. And until they learn who they are as a person, they can't be restored as a principal, as a teacher, as an educator. So it helps people to be restored at a personal level so they'll know themselves. You can't change yourself until you know yourself. You can't grow yourself until you know yourself. One of the captions I use is a little worm turning into a butterfly. And that process sometimes is painful, which is why I try to make it fun, because sometimes when we really dig deep and it gets at the core of who we are, sometimes it's painful when we really learn who we are.
Yes.
So once we learn who we are and accept those things that we like about ourselves and don't like about ourselves, then it enables us to transform ourselves to be the people that we need to be our best selves.
So what you're saying is that a lot of times people are just showing up as a representative. We are showing up as though the people that they want to see. We're becoming who they want us to be, and we're not really truly being who we are meant to be. We are not living in our purpose, educating or training in our purpose. I learned a lot about it, and I think a lot of people learned a lot about themselves during this exercise. So I applaud you. It was a really awesome exercise.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.